What is going on, everybody? I hope you had a fantastic weekend and an excellent Sunday night. This is MYG Jeffy T 3285, and I'm just doing a quick recap video about the New York Giants' second preseason game as they come out on top in a 25-22 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals tonight. And I'm just going to go over some of the things that I liked tonight, some of the things that still give me a little bit of worry, the injury updates, and I'm telling you, the injury updates gave some of us Giant fans a scare, but at least we might have come away with a little bit of good news, as well as what to look forward to in the potential guys that could get cut, as well as joint practices and the last preseason game with the New York Jets coming next week, as we get a lot closer to the beginning of the NFL season on September 11th. And if you're waiting for that first game, September 8th on Thursday night. So what's going on, everybody? I hope you had a fantastic Sunday. This is MYG Jeffy T 3285. What I liked about the game tonight, and one of the first things that myself, as well as my fellow New York Giants fans and content creators, one of the first things we all spotted was this team looks like that they have some discipline. The one thing that we've noticed as fans is that the New York Giants, for the first time in a while, look like a much more disciplined team, as you don't see a lot of those ridiculously dumb penalties, whether it's the offensive lineman or defensive lineman holding people too long, tackling people, not knowing where to be in terms of their schemes. You don't see a lot of that right now when it comes to the New York Giants team, which is a very great thing to see going forward, because it looks like that Brian Daboll, Wink Martindale, Mike Kafka, and the positional coaches are doing a good job keeping this team as a much more disciplined group going forward. And what you need going into the season is you want to get out some of those bad plays, some of those bad quirks out of the system before you start the season, and you want these guys to be coming out there and showing some discipline over there all. So that's what I love seeing, is that the New York Giants so far, my first take looking at this team is they seem to be a way more disciplined team going forward. Now, another thing that really made me happy was Daniel Jones. I thought Daniel Jones tonight overall played a pretty good game. He was moving around the pocket well. The protection was solid, but Daniel Jones was scanning the field. He was good on target. Daniel Jones actually played very well tonight. He was 16 of 18 for a little over 100 yards. He was able to drive the team down on multiple drives. He ended up getting a touchdown to one of the plays on a run by Deshaun Corbin up the middle, as well as he's able to drive the team down for a field goal at least, even though I kind of wish they were able to get a second touchdown, but that's just me nitpicking. Overall, I thought Daniel Jones looked solid tonight. 16 of 18 passing for over 100 yards. Daniel Jones looked good. And for the people that are detractors of Daniel Jones, you got to give the guy credit. Yes, I know there's going to be people out there going to say, well, the Cincinnati Bengals played their second unit out there on the field tonight. You got to give Daniel Jones credit. He went out there, second unit, first unit, fourth unit, 10th unit. It doesn't even matter. He went out there. He was disciplined. He made the throws. He hit his receivers in stride. Daniel Jones overall played a very good game tonight. And you got to give credit to Daniel Jones for at least going out there and playing well. Now, of course, there's things that he's still got to clean up on a little bit. But overall, I thought Daniel Jones had a very good game tonight overall. Another thing I'm going to say, I thought the offensive line, in terms of the run blocking, continues to look strong. I don't know what Bobby Johnson is coaching right now, but he better keep doing it, because this run blocking from the first unit to the second unit and the third unit, they are opening up holes in the center of that field. They are opening up holes on the outside. The run blocking overall for the New York Giants has looked very good. I will give credit to that. The pass blocking is still a little bit of a work in progress, but the first thing I noticed in terms of the team and the pass blocking, I think the New York Giants offensive tackles as a whole, but especially Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas, they looked pretty good tonight in terms of their pass block. I thought Andrew Thomas continues to looking like a guy that's going to be emerging as one of the top young offensive tackles in this league. And I thought Evan Neal, minus a couple of snaps here or there, he did a very good job in terms of his pass protecting. And that's the first thing I noticed. There were no defensive ends or outside linebackers that were getting anywhere close to Daniel Jones and disrupting his play. I thought they did a really good job. And even the reserve guys like Will Holden and Eric Smith did a very good job in terms of their backup guys at the offensive tackle position. So I thought the offensive tackles as a whole looked very good. And I'm going to give credit to a guy like Max Garcia, who has been struggling throughout camp the entire time. I thought Max Garcia went out there and he put on a pretty good performance as well. And I would even give credit to Devery Hamilton. Another guy that's taking advantage of the reps presented is Max Garcia, the 5th or 6th offensive center that we've been playing, as well as Devery Hamilton, the 3rd offensive guard we played. Both these guys went out there, and he did a good job on the field today, opening up some holes, including that touchdown run by Jashawn Corbin on that play. And I'm going to transition right to the running back position right after that. Kudos to a guy like Jashawn Corbin, and especially, who I thought was one of the best players tonight on the field, Antonio Williams. Shout out to my guy NYG22. If you haven't checked his channel out yet, Unpopular Sports Opinion, has had some great takes over there. He's been hyping up Antonio Williams as a guy that's been going out there and making plays, and all Antonio Williams has done, well, with the opportunities given, is he's run hard up the middle. His pass blocking and blitz pickup was solid. Antonio Williams has been a guy that's been showing out so far in preseason games and in training camp. He knows the Buffalo Bills system as he was with Buffalo last year. And I think this guy is making a strong case of making this roster tonight. So kudos to a guy like Antonio Williams. And Jashawn Corbin, I thought he played a solid game overall too. It's unfortunate that Gary Brightwell had to miss the game because I thought he played very well in the first game. He was running tough. But I really wonder if the fact that he was not out there could hurt his chances of maybe making the roster, unless his special teams contributions might help him make the roster going forward. But kudos to Antonio Williams as well as Jashawn Corbin. The running back room overall looks solid. And then kudos to the wide receivers. The New York Giants wide receivers have been a position that has been getting a lot of criticism due to injuries, due to ineffective play. But I think overall, the depth on this position, yes, I know it's preseason. Take everything with a grain of salt. I say the same thing with the running backs and the offensive linemen. But overall, what we saw tonight, going to give credit to these guys. David Sills, preseason darling. The Sills Army. Everybody talks about the Sills Army. What did David Sills do tonight? He had really good synergy and chemistry with Daniel Jones. He was making some very nice, tough catches. Even did some pretty solid run blocking as well. David Sills tonight played a very good game. Another guy, Colin Johnson. All this guy does is just goes out there and makes plays. Colin Johnson is making a very strong case of making this roster right now. And I think Colin Johnson should make this roster, as he's just been a guy that's been getting open. He's been making good running very good routes. I'm very happy with what I saw from Colin Johnson tonight, as well as the first game of the season. And I really would be surprised if this guy does not make the roster. As well as Richie James. Richie James had another solid game, and I think this guy should be the punt returner and kick returner going forward with the New York Giants. CJ Board overall, we know how much he's a good special teams player overall, but he had a fumble tonight, and he actually left the game tonight with a rib injury, and it did not return. And I think that's going to hurt his chances to make the team, as I believe Richie James is going to have more to offer this team going forward. So I really believe that Richie James should make this team. And another guy, unfortunately, I think it's going to be a numbers game for him. It's going to be tough for him to make the roster. But kudos to Alex Bachmann, who had 9 catches overall, over 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns tonight. He looked good. He had good chemistry with Davis Webb, ran some solid routes over the middle. He played well tonight. Give kudos to Alex Bachmann. He had a good game tonight. So I loved what I saw from the reserve wide receivers. Like I mentioned, take it with a grain of salt. Playing against some backups on the Cincinnati Bengals. But overall, in terms of the play, very happy with that. And on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to go right to those defensive ends. Kayvon Thibodeaux and Azeez Ojulari were harassing the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line and the quarterbacks all night. These guys seemed like they had the great first step overall. They were in the backfield. I'll get to Kayvon Thibodeaux a little bit later in terms of the injury status, because he gave us a little bit of a scare in terms of that. But Kayvon Thibodeaux and Azeez Ojulari overall, I thought, played very strong games. I know it's the backups with the Cincinnati Bengals. We're playing against their second-team offensive line, but overall, they had good first steps, and I liked what I saw from that. But 2 undrafted free agents on the defensive line, such as outside linebacker position, that made impacts tonight. I'm talking about Ryan Anderson and Timon Fox. Ryan Anderson had good pressure out there, playing with the first and second team defensive line / outside linebackers. He had 1.5 sacks tonight. He was putting constant pressure on the team. I really liked what I saw from Ryan Anderson. He's been making a strong case in practice as well to make this team overall. So kudos to Ryan Anderson. And I will say ditto for Timon Fox, who actually had he had the last play in the game tonight, making a great tackle. It looked like he was shot out of a freaking cannon tonight, the way he played. And that last play especially. He had a sack. He had a bunch of plays where he was right there in pursuit. So kudos to Timon Fox. I think the both of them are making a strong case to make this roster with the New York Giants going forward. So want to give a shout out to those two guys overall. And in terms of the linebacking position, got to give credit to Micah McFadden and Tay Crowder. Tay Crowder, a lot of Giants fans, including myself, thinking that Tay Crowder is a guy that's just been holding on to that middle linebacker position. And you have younger guys like Micah McFadden, as well as Darrian Beavers, who I'll get to a little bit later too. I think these guys have been chomping at the bit, making plays, but Tay Crowder had himself a nice night tonight. He had good pursuit against the ball. He made a tremendous tackle on one of the runs that were out there. He had great pursuit. I'll give Tay Crowder his credit. He played a good game tonight. And in terms of the secondary, you didn't really hear much about you didn't hear a lot about the safeties. Julian Love, Xavier McKinney, they did a good job. You didn't hear a lot from these guys because they went out there and they did their job. And in terms of the backups, didn't see a lot of broken plays involving Yusef Corker or Trenton Thompson. So I think these guys did an overall job. Kudos to the safety position. You didn't see a lot of deep passes or any completions when it came to that. I thought the secondary did a very good job, the safeties especially. And I will say the same thing about the starting cornerbacks. You didn't see a lot of deep plays being made. Adoree Jackson, Aaron Robinson, I thought had a nice bounce-back game. And Darnay Holmes continues to be a guy that's just having a very strong camp in preseason. I think Darnay Holmes might be one of those guys on the Giants that might have a breakout year in his third year as a Giant overall. So I got to give credit to Darnay Holmes. He had a strong game tonight too. Now in terms of some of the things that were a little bit concerning to me, the tight end position. And I'm going to credit some of my guys, Big Pass Sports Talk, NYG22, Adam Costas, Mac the Giants fan, Zion Zenith, Zevi Mizrahi. The tight end position is a little bit concerned. Daniel Bellinger, we want to see this guy go out there and make some plays on the offensive side. He had a catch, but he also had a tip ball on one of the only few plays where Daniel Jones did not have a completion. Daniel Bellinger made a tip pass that ended up being the one turnover for the New York Giants tonight. You don't want to see that. Daniel Bellinger, he's got to catch that ball. And it's a little bit of a concern. Austin Allen really didn't distinguish himself out there in terms of trying to grab a hold of that tight end 3 position, possibly tight end 2. You didn't really hear Jordan Aikens' name at all being called tonight. Chris Myrick, I honestly thought Chris Myrick actually looked the best in terms of the tight ends tonight. And I thought his blocking was solid, made a couple of nice catches, played with the first team. Yes, he did play towards the end of the game too. But I thought Chris Myrick looked solid overall. Maybe he has the inside track as that tight end 2 or tight end 3 position going forward. But the tight end position is a little bit of a concern. I know, take it with a grain of salt too. But I didn't really see a lot distinguished from the tight ends overall in this game tonight. The inside linebacker position scared me a little bit. I know Blake Martinez played tonight, but I get a little bit worried in terms of those running backs and tight ends on the opposite team rolling out and making some plays over the middle. So I get a little bit worried about that. I think the inside linebacking position could be a little bit of an issue early on with this team. We'll have to see going forward. Like I said early in the video, I did like what I saw from Micah McFadden, but remember, he is a rookie and he was playing against reserve guys, so we have to see what Micah McFadden can do if he's going to be called upon for some starting minutes out there from the New York Giants going forward. And in terms of the reserve cornerbacks, Zion Gilbert, Darren Evans, Olaja Griffin, these guys were getting beat on some plays, and I don't love what I saw from the reserve guys. I mean, I like the starters that we have. I know Aaron Robinson had some struggles in the first game. I thought he bounced back better tonight. But the reserves are giving me a little bit of cause of concern, because these guys were getting beat like a drum all over the place. And I would not be surprised if the New York Giants are going to be looking for another veteran cornerback when it comes to this waiver wire, when we cut down to 53 men after the preseason games and training camp are concluded. I would not be shocked if we look for a solid veteran that gets cut for another team, because the reserves are giving me a little bit of cause of concern going forward. And another thing, and this is a thing that me and everybody have been stressing about a lot with the New York Giants, the injuries. The New York Giants have been getting banged up a lot. I know a lot of these injuries are minor, but it's still a little bit of a cause of concern. We were missing a lot of guys tonight. Kadarius Toney did not play tonight. Darius Slayton did not play tonight due to injuries. We were missing 5 offensive linemen. Josh Azudu did not play. John Feliciano did not play. Ben Bredesen, Jameel Douglas, Marcus McGriff. These guys did not play due to injury. And I know they're minor injuries, but you need these guys out there. Cordell Flott, another rookie, he did not play due to a groin injury. Matt Breida and Gary Brightwell did not play due to injuries. And things just not get better tonight, as we had a few more guys that went down with injury, including some of our rookies. Obviously, the biggest scare of the night was Kayvon Thibodeaux, and I'm not happy with the block that went out there. I thought it was a dirty play that the Cincinnati Bengals tight end made, Thaddeus Moss. I was not happy about the guy going right at Kayvon Thibodeaux's knee. Scared the New York Giants team, but it seemed like we might have avoided serious injury to Kayvon Thibodeaux when he got hit in the knee. It looked like he was in good spirits. He actually went out there and he told the beat reporters after the game that he seems like he's all good, and he said he will be back, so that's a good sign maybe that Kayvon Thibodeaux avoided some serious injury, but we have to wait and see what the MRIs are going to say. He's going to be going for an MRI on Monday, so we have to wait and see what's going to happen with Kayvon Thibodeaux, but it looks like just from the naked eye, that looks like we might have avoided serious injury in terms of Kayvon Thibodeaux. So that's a great sign, because he was making some plays out there, and it would be such a deflating loss if we end up losing Kayvon Thibodeaux to any type of injury going forward. But it looks like we might have not escaped some good fortunes with Darrian Beavers, our 6th-round pick, as it looked like that turf monster got another one. Kudos to my guy Miz. He's been saying it the whole time. The turf monster might have gotten another one, so they might have eaten another soul tonight, as Darrian Beavers looked like he tweaked his knee on one of those plays, and we might have gotten some bad news about Darrian Beavers, as he had to be helped off the field into the locker room, and everything you hear, it might be a serious injury. We're going to have to see what the MRI says going into Monday, but it looks like we might have had a serious injury with Darrian Beavers. Obviously, we even had our injury to our kicker tonight, as Graham Gano on a play, trying to make a tackle on the special teams play, ended up hitting his head and getting kicked in the face by one of the special teams player on the Bengals, and he looks like he suffered a concussion tonight, so we have to see how he's going to look going forward. Jamie Gillen actually took over for kicking duties tonight in the Giants game, so we're going to have to see how Graham Gano is going to respond. He's going to obviously put in concussion protocol. We have to see how long he's going to be out due to concussion. Hopefully it's not anything long-term. He has no lingering effects from that, but it's not something you want to hear when your kicker is getting hurt on a special teams play, so we got to hope that he's going to be okay. And another injury we suffered, DJ Davidson, looked like he limped off the field. The New York Giants' 5th-round draft pick, he got hurt as well. So we have to see how he's going to be going forward, if he's going to need an MRI. It looks like he was limping, might be a back injury, could be a lower leg injury. Have to see how DJ Davidson's going to look, because he was playing pretty solid too in terms of our depth on the defensive line. So we got to hope that DJ Davidson is going to be okay going forward. But injuries, again, are a concern. Just got to hope for the best and see what the MRIs are going to say about Kayvon Thibodeaux, DJ Davidson, as well as Darrian Beavers, 3 of our rookies this year, as the rookie class right now has been getting banged up a lot for the New York Giants. So we got to hope for the best with these guys. And same thing with Graham Gano. But I thought overall the New York Giants gave us some good signs tonight in terms of their play on the field. There are some things that still need to be cleaned up. Remember, it is preseason and training camp. Take everything with a grain of salt. We have to see how these guys perform when the games actually count, when you're going to be going against first-team offenses and defenses, and especially we're going to get our first test on September 11th against the Tennessee Titans down there in Nashville. So we have to see some positive things that we looked at, and definitely we saw some positive things. This team definitely looks like a more disciplined team, and it looks like they're being coached well overall. So that's the first thing that we have to look at in terms of a positive, is that we look like we have a very well-coached team going forward. We just have to see how it looks going forward with the New York Giants into the season. as you have to just, see how everything goes with the New York Giants in terms of their discipline overall. And hopefully this team can end up staying more healthy, because the injuries right now, it's a concern a little bit. Some of these guys, we might have caught a break. Some of these other guys, we might have just had bad luck. But we'll have to see with that. But it's encouraging, some of the things you look at this New York Giants team. And we have to say, as a New York Giants team overall, we have some things that we can look forward to and be happy about in terms of the discipline on this team. The coaching looks better. We look like we have some young players that we're going to build upon. The defensive line looks very good overall, even on the depth. The wide receiver depth looks solid. The running back depth looks solid. And we especially might have ourselves a couple of bookends on the offensive and the defensive line overall. And I give another shout out to my guy NYG22 talking about this offensive line, because he's been preaching the entire time about how this offensive line might be one of the better ones when it gets gelled together towards the end of the season. And he might end up being right, because the offensive line so far in terms of run blocking has looked really good. We just have to see how the pass blocking does overall over the rest of the season. But right now the early returns look pretty positive. So that's just some of my news, notes, observations, recap overall for the New York Giants game tonight, as the New York Giants pull off a 25-22 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals tonight. And we have a lot of things to look forward to be happy about. Still some things to clean up on, but we're going to have to see how the New York Giants do going into their third preseason game against the New York Jets next week. We're going to have a couple of joint practices with the Jets this coming week. See how they look in that. Hopefully we get some good news in terms of the injury front on guys like Kayvon Thibodeaux, Darrian Beavers, DJ Davidson, as well as Graham Gano, and anybody else that might have gotten nicked up in this game tonight. And just see how the New York Giants are going to look in terms of cut downs. I think we're going to find out who's going to be cut down. The roster is going to be cut from 85 to 80 going into this week. And we're going to find out what players are not going to be on this team going forward. So we got a lot more things that are going to be happening with this New York Giants team going forward. But thank you very much. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button below. Subscribe if you haven't already to NYGJeffyT3285 for more breaking news, updates, chatter, and roster updates surrounding the New York Giants, as well as other news and other updates surrounding the New York Mets, Brooklyn Nets, WWE Wrestling, as well as some food for thought. Turn on the bell for notifications on when the next New York Giants short or video is going to drop on the channel, as well as leave your comment below tonight. I would love to hear everybody's comments tonight on what you thought about the New York Giants, what you liked about the game tonight, what you didn't like about the game tonight, if you're concerned about any of the injuries that happened tonight, what players you thought showed out and played well tonight, what players you thought struggled and could, these guys might be on the outside looking in terms of players that didn't show out. Just give me your overall thoughts in the comment section on what you thought about the New York Giants game overall, and what you liked, disliked, and about the players that you thought played well and didn't play well. But I thank you very much, everybody. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Sunday night. I hope you had a fantastic weekend, everybody. Take it easy, and let's go New York Football Giants. Just remember, with Big Blue, you're always going to be in the good. Together Blue, everyone. Have a great rest of your night. Together Blue, all the way. Let's go, Giants.